Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the third season of Red Wine Talks, if you knew that there were even seasons happening. Yes, I'm here with my two friends, Sara and John.
Hello.
We're laughing because just lots of things, actually.
Lots of things.
So many things.
It's been a long conversation beforehand.
Sara asked me right before we turn this on, does the audience know that I have a rule that they have to drink at least one before? And I was like, I don't think so.
That's important because we're already at a level that none of our audience has seen.
I'm sure it's obvious at this point to anyone watching right now, looking at us.
Maybe for you guys, they're used to me. they're used to
This is your natural state.
All right, I am here with Sara Dietschy, rhymes with
Peachy.
and John Hill rhymes with
Pills.
Peachy.
Hills.
Yeah.
That's coming after the rest. I'm just kidding. Okay, I'm kidding. We met on a road trip actually, back in the day, like 2 years ago. A cross-country road trip. It was for a brand that I guess shall not be named. Take a sip. I don't know.
Yeah,
And
I remember
we're not
meeting
actors.
you and Joe terrified me. Like as soon as we got in there, they were like, oh yeah, this is actually gonna be more acting than in the documentary like we promised. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm sure that's gonna be weird for all of us. And as soon as they were like,
Really
Damon and Joe, perform. They were like, they were literally, there was one moment of the show where I couldn't help but laugh at it even though I hated everything about it. There was like a moment where you were like freestyling to the camera, or you were like, you did this whole rap song.
Oh yes.
And Joe's like doing this thing and we're just sitting in the corner like pedaling a bike to like charge the lights for you to see you guys. But I remember
on the beat, out bringing the heat. I don't like the taste of meat, but I like the taste of victory.
Knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone. But since we're alpha dogs, we'll just take the throne.
Yeah, Team Alpha. And yeah, Team Alpha.
Yeah, that's what it was. And actually, when you texted me today, your text came up and it said Sara Omega, which was their team name because we were Team Alpha, they were Team Omega.
But seeing the confidence in you two in that moment, I was like laughing, sitting there being like, we are so not cut out for like these two. Because we were like butting head to head.
Hey,
It was
speak for yourself.
Speak for myself, I should.
it was.
Because I was like, the whole trip I was like this. And I was just watching everyone like Damon and Joe murder it and Sara murder it. But
I feel like we have three different styles of YouTube first off. Like mine is more, I guess, lifestyle. Well, it is travel. But also like comedy in a sense. Like I like taking something and making it funny. You're more skateboarding,
yeah.
and you're more tech. And so I guess we would have, like, I don't know if there's like a link there that we would have more like.
I think we're all inspired by
I don't
different.
know.
I think we're all inspired by different types of mediums. Like I think you and Joe like made it clear on that trip that you guys were inspired by like big shows. Like you guys were like you guys were YouTubers, of course, but your content was clearly like kind of above that level that you would think. And with me, I was like in a whole different world. So I was like, oh, YouTube, I'll just make YouTube videos. So I was just like, I felt like a YouTuber 100% when I think you guys were seriously like, you know, you guys were actors. Like you guys were good at all of it. And every time they're like, put on a smile, and you were like, you'd be like this. And then you'd just be like, what's up, da, 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 da. And when you guys would kill it, I'm like, yeah.
Like the fakest people. You guys made a brand for yourselves living in New York City, and then you just recently moved here.
Right.
To
Texas.
Texas, which is where you're from.
Yep.
Did you ever think like you would want to move to Texas?
I never even really thought I was gonna go to New York because I was in California as a skateboarder, and I was like, oh, this is like the epitome of what I should be doing. And then I met someone named Sara Dietschy.
Oh no! And
Rhymes
your
with,
life was ruined.
Yeah.
We started long distance.
Yeah. So every other month we would stay with the other one. So like for the first 3 or 4 months, I would stay in New York for a month. She would stay in California for a month, and then I was just like, you know, like I'd rather hang out with you. And New York just, I mean, I think anyone would want to at least live in New York for a little bit. So I mean, maybe. I mean, you lived there for 5 years, which is insane.
It was enough.
Yeah, exactly. And for us,
It's good to do it
same.
in your 20s.
But every year I liked it, and then of course like recently things got a little dicier. But I mean, I always loved it. I just think like while I was there, I was like, I really like skateboarding, but it precipitates half the year. It's too cold a third of the year, so maybe I should move somewhere where it's warm, pretty nice, easy to get around, and there's trees.
Most of my friends though are very, I guess, international minded in the sense like they might be from England, but they're living in France, or from France, but maybe they want to go to Thailand. have you guys ever thought like, oh, I want to go, I don't know, live somewhere else? Or
He brings up Denmark all the time.
100%.
Oh, really?
So I randomly bring up Denmark all the time because their summers are like cool. And have you been to Denmark?
No, but even in France, like it's daylight till 10 p.m.
That's
Okay,
cool.
so, and honestly, I didn't mention this until this intentionally, but I've always had such a romanticization and fascination of Paris. Like I
You?
still, yes.
Oh, you should
cool.
tell this.
Yeah.
Should you tell the story of our first phone interaction?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we met and we clearly got along really well. And like in our videos, the way we talked, I think we both were like, okay, there's something here, and we're gonna keep talking, and it's gonna be awesome. But like normal people would be like, hey, like we should do that again sometime. That was fun. Whatever. Maybe collaborate. I'll come to New York. You next time you're in California.
That would
And,
be the natural next step.
That'd be
right?
very normal for a normal person.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, like I've always wanted to go to Paris. I know we've only met one day and hung out this one day.
Let's go to Paris
But I was like,
together.
I'm loving this though. I know. I like this shit.
I was like, but we're both like YouTubers and we could get such amazing content.
We could vlog there.
Yeah, and I was like, if we just went to Paris, France together. So like that was my first date asking after hanging out the first time. I was like,
Did you go?
we did not.
Well,
and I've never been. And I've always like, ever since I was a kid, I remember being like, Paris is like I was like, I feel like I could die after the moment of just like, like sitting at a cafe in Paris working on something, like editing or doing
We're
something.
gonna get there, but the world has been on hold for a while. We'll get there.
Not
though.
the time to be in Paris, hence why I'm here in Fort Worth.
Exactly.
Hence why I'm here.
Exactly, but I've always like super romanticized Paris. I mean, the way that most people do. But yeah, for me, that's like, it's still like a dream destination. I think that's where my parents or your parents did.
They honeymooned in London and Paris.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
But they hated Paris. And
We have the same
London.
parents. That's
Yeah.
why I got it confused. Fort Worth, Texas, y'all.
But hold on, you mentioned being international. He has a lot of family in South Korea, so he wants to spend some time in South Korea.
I was
You've
gonna
been
s-
there too, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought
Yeah,
you
I
did.
was gonna say that when you said like when she was saying that we were trying to find a balance between where we're gonna stay. I remember I was like, well, let's just go to South Korea and live there. And she's like, I can't speak the language.
like,
you can't
"What?"
speak the language. And I'm like, oh, that's true. But that's
안녕하세요, 감사합니다,
boom, there you go.
사랑해요.
There you go. She just said hello, thank you,
Minjujuy.
I love you, and democracy.
Okay.
Anyways,
All great things.
all fantastic things. When I went to South Korea, it was like life changing. I went 3 years ago, and that's where most of my family lives. And I've never hung out with like cousins and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, I have like family here. We had this big dinner. Sara was there, and it was like 12 people just all sitting together. And I was like, oh, this is what having family feels like. This is interesting.
Yeah.
So I remember being like, I want to live in Korea. Like someday I want to spend months there, especially because like I've never had a grandparent either. So I was like, I have one grandma in Korea. I was like, I wonder what it's like at 30 years old to have a grandma. Like, I'm interested in that. I think I probably have the same vibe to you and maybe your international friends where it's like, I like the idea of like trying something really risque and like, let's see where it goes type thing.
Does your grandma speak English?
Not at all.
And you don't speak Korean?
But I practice Korean every single day. I'm literally practicing Korean every day for like 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, just to like try to have like that one conversation and be like,
안녕하세요.
yeah.
Okay, say
I
something.
Sarah's just saying democracy to the grandma every time. She's like, I get it, democracy, all right, America, cool.
She's like,
because he's the language dude.
oh no!
So
Remember
you
last
should
time
impress him.
last time you tried to get me to say something? Remember what happened?
No. Wait. Okay. I won't.
Okay, I have terrible
I'm not supposed
self-esteem
to put
issues.
him on the spot. Okay,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
I have terrible self-esteem
very
issues.
important.
Yeah,
So
me
like
too.
at this one place, she was like, say a Korean sentence, and I was like, and like I know like hundreds, and I was just like, and I started
I'm
sweating.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Damon asked me the
No,
question.
I'm just saying.
Quick, change the subject.
I won't do
Change
it.
the-
But I sweated for 30 minutes, and I went to the bathroom for 30 minutes, and I was
sorry.
like, no, I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying that's like how the moment ended up, and I was just sitting in the bathroom like, I can't stop sweating because I got so nervous till this.
But you know what? I told people in Paris that I was coming here to Texas. They have such an opinion of it, like good. Like it's like
Are
a.
you sure? I think you're
It's
just saying
maybe
that.
it's not good. It's just more like they're intrigued, they're like enticed. They're like,
It's like, does everyone wear
Texas?
cowboy hats?
and a lot
No.
of people do.
Well,
Oh.
okay. A lot of people do.
Yeah, like when we were driving up, there was a guy with a huge belt,
Really? Okay.
probably that said Lone Star, with a flannel shirt halfway down like this. And
Listen,
then a hat.
there's a lot of Texas pride.
Yeah.
You know, if you live in Texas, there's like a 50-50 chance that you're just gonna love Texas, right?
Yeah, we're talking about Texas. This is
Yeah.
between
Texas.
us.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You know, I like there is a positive energy. When you see it from the outside, you really do think, I'm gonna choose my words carefully, you do think everyone's a certain type of way, you know, but they're not. And I think there is a genuine beneath everything. There are some crazies, of course, but beneath everything, I think there is a genuine kindness. But I will say the one thing this is why I love New York, is in New York, there's a bluntness. So the Southern charm is just being nice to your face, but actually talking shit behind your back. That's Southern charm. Oh, sweetheart, bless your heart. Bless your heart.
Like, what do y'all gonna say when I leave?
And then I
Yeah.
go talk to John, oh my God, he's a mess. You know, that's Southern charm. So I respect places like New York that's what I loved is not only the speed of it, but the people will just be like, hey, you're in my way. You know?
Get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then in times of need, like I got into a bad bicycle accident in New York like 6 months ago. And the amount of New Yorkers that just randomly showed up for me was insane. Like that's when I felt like the most New York is when like they came to my rescue. But also like where are the most like racist shit happening? It's like New York and San Francisco.
It's weird that it's happening in the most
okay.
elite
You know?
cities. Yeah, especially with obviously there's a huge
Yeah.
Asian hate movement, and it's happening in San Francisco, LA,
And
and
you
New York.
and you watch the stuff and you're like, how does that doorman close the door instead of help that poor 65-year-old woman who's on the ground that just got sucker punched?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. There's something that I feel like in Texas is like that doesn't fly. It's like I like to think.
That's true.
You know, I like to think if that even happened here, like everyone would be like, oh my God, are you
100%.
okay? They would like.
Yeah.
There's like a feeling of like.
Because I think in New York, in New York,
Yeah.
it's like your business is your business.
Exactly.
If something bad's happening to you,
yeah.
that's kind of your business.
Exactly.
Here in Texas, seriously, anywhere you go,
Yeah.
like everyone around, even like a 4-year-old would run up and be like, ah, like start trying to fight the person. Like, I feel like, which is, I mean, it's like that's why I like
But
the vibe here.
everyone's business is everyone's business.
Exactly.
So it can go good or bad.
When I was driving and like 6 people waved to me while driving, I remember being like,
Sweet.
is there something on my car?
So
Like,
that's the thing. So when you're in just like a normal Texas neighborhood, it's the thing to do like the
Yeah,
That's
you
it,
do
you
the little
go-
hand. The
Yeah,
hand
yeah.
thing.
maybe in Indiana too, but you
Oh,
just
yes.
you do the
well, they'll fully sometimes see it, and I'm like,
yeah. And that's different, you know?
it's different.
No, I love that. Even that's what I say. Like people ask me what I miss about the States, and it would be just the general openness, kindness, like ease of talking to strangers. Like I've only been here for 48 hours, and I've already had 2 compliments where this would not happen in Paris. Somebody today said, "Oh, I like your pants." Like just to be nice.
That
And I was
doesn't
like-
happen in Paris.
I was like, "Thank you. Like thank you for liking
Yeah.
my pants."
Yeah.
Or yesterday somebody said they liked my shirt. I was just
Yeah.
like, that's sweet. Thank
Yeah.
you. And I like that. But and I don't know if it's Paris or just big cities.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. Maybe New York they would say that.
I think
but
baristas here all say it.
they were literally all baristas.
Yeah, for some reason
All I do is go from Whole Foods
Oh, were
to
they?
coffee shop.
Oh, yeah.
Not even joking.
Okay, okay,
They were
that's-
both baristas.
That's hilarious because yeah, for me, every time I've seen a barista, they've said something. They've been like, I love your like knees. I'm like, no way.
Maybe it's kind of like the hospitality thing, but you want to think that they genuinely like because they pick a thing.
I think that they do. I don't think it's
Yeah.
fake. I think
And they
some
don't
people might
care
think
because
it's
that's the
fake.
thing. There's no expectation. You feel like you can be free to be like, hey, like, oh my God, I love your shirt. I love your XYZ. You
It
know?
definitely makes me want to try it because I've never done that. Like I've never just been like,
Like, I've never
"Oh my God,
actually
I love
done
your shirt like to a stranger. Like I've never done that, and it makes me want. But like, because I always associate that maybe because of New York. I always associate that with creepiness. Like I'm like I don't want to be like I love something about you randomly
Yeah.
stranger.
Yeah. People act like the choices they make have to be permanent. Because I feel like in one of your videos you said, like, you don't know if this is forever,
I have the same thing. Yeah.
but it's like, I'm going to just try it. And look, if I want to move to New York City tonight, I can.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
Because we were
sure.
thinking about what you were saying. You were asking such a good
We
question.
agreed. And so that was an agreement. High five.
Our brains like understood how good of a question you were asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, just because
Yeah.
that's something I think about all the. I was literally just like I think tweeting about basically being like, yeah, I'm like really interested in illustration and all this stuff right now. And people are like, yeah, but don't you have like a career that took you a long time
Nothing's
to build?
permanent.
And I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I can switch up every 2 years if I wanted to, right? Like I don't know. I think when you've experienced not having like a lot, you're not as scared of it. You're just like, oh, dude, I don't mind. Like, I can survive regardless.
Yeah.
You'll be okay. Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, and like everything is perspective anyway. So like for people like I assume us who are just willing to be like, yeah, even if this all fails, like we know how to survive on nothing.
That's a good point.
You're willing to try anything. So for me, I'm always like, dude,
Yeah.
if you're like interested in 15 different things, you can do each thing every year if you wanted to, and then realize if you like or dislike something. But what were you gonna say? You're probably smarter than me.
No, I think that was such a good point because I think. Oh my god.
Wait, this is interesting because I never have like couples on here. I'm just like, it's always like me as a single guy and
Why are
like
they
some
making
other
out?
single person. We're just like, what is love? This is just like, I don't even need to be. You can ask me. I just step out of the show. I never like. I actually don't think I have any couple friends.
Really?
Yeah, but okay, continue.
Okay. Okay, I feel like I'm at the point where I'm a little drunk.
This happens in Red Wine
Yeah,
Talks.
so it happens.
Yeah.
It's a safe place, right?
This
Okay.
means it's
Don't judge
working.
me. Okay. What were you saying?
I literally don't know. Oh, how you can.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I feel like the perfect thing, and maybe this is coming from the place of privilege, but I think the perfect way to grow up is like the middle class where you don't have parents where they have so much money where they can dictate your life, but it's enough to where you don't have to worry about the food on your table. So I think we both grew up in a place where like, or at least me, I grew up in a very supportive environment, but it was always the feeling, sorry. Okay, but we had similarities. Sorry. So I feel like, okay, no, but we were similar in terms of,
I'm sorry.
listen.
I'm listening.
Okay, so I think the thing we had in common was there was no plan B, right? We grew up in an environment where, okay, so I had at least the love and support of my family, but it was like, hey, we support you with this, but like know that there's no plan B. Like we're not paying for college, we're not doing this. So there was essentially an aspect of like, you have to live your life.
Sarah's childhood.
That's what I'm saying.
Makes so much sense for who she is today. Like the fact that she's been working since she was like an infant and has been doing like hard jobs since she was like literally what 14 or 15 or 13.
Well, before even you're legally allowed to be paid, and they gave me volunteer hours.
Yeah.
So I literally feel like I cracked the code because like unfortunately I feel like we're gonna have more money for our kids than our parents had for us, so we're gonna have to figure it out. But you know, #blessed, whatever. But I feel like I grew up in the perfect environment where I had love, but it was balanced by also like critical points of view that was saying like, hey, are you sure about that? You know? But at the same time, if I wanted something, they were like, okay, that's great. Let me introduce you to the new neighbor. They need a babysitter, you know? So they equated it to like working.
Yeah, like that's
And
great,
so-
but go gotta work. For
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I grew up blessed enough to where like I didn't have to worry about like providing for my parents,
Right.
which I think is a real thing that kids have to worry about, and that sucks because you never have to get to a point where you're focused on yourself, right? But it wasn't enough to where they just paid for the stuff I wanted. So I feel like I had the best balance.
Yeah, your lessons were very realistic. I mean, they
Yeah.
told you like, hey, if you want the things, you basically
Yeah.
have to like not just suck up to the person, but do something for that person that makes
You
them
have
want
to
to give you the
provide
things.
value.
Exactly.
And
That's
that-
interesting. No one's ever
Yeah.
put it that way. I like
Yeah.
how you put that. That's
and,
interesting.
And it prepared me for like the real world.
Right. Because I feel like you, like with me, maybe coming from like a little bit less, I still didn't know like, I never learned that lesson of like, well, if you want something, just provide value for the people above you. Like there was nothing that kind of lent that idea to me. And then luckily when I moved to California and I met a lot of older people who mentored me, they were like, yeah, dude, everything works more practically than you think. Like it's like if you provide for these people, they'll help you out with whatever you need. And money works that way where it's like provide a service for someone, they'll give you the money to do that service. But
That's why I think it's so, man, it would be great if we could crack this code, but I feel like the world, like if you grew up super poor, it's hard to understand that. If you grew up super rich, it's hard to understand that. You know, okay, at least the rich kids, they're fine, their daddies and mommies will pay for them for the rest of their life. The people on the lower end spectrum, they don't have some of that stuff that, man, it's like, oh, just if you could communicate those things, or they could have certain opportunities, you know, they could get to that point.
it's easy to grow resentful
Yeah. like where we grew up and where you grew up, I feel like is very similar. The Midwest, I feel like is very similar to the South. Maybe we say soda and pop differently, but in terms of family life, I feel like it is very similar.
One context before Indiana conversation starts is I had a friend, my best friend in California was from Indiana, and he was so resentful of his hometown. I don't know why. He hated Indiana, and he always talked about it. Yeah, he was like, dude, I'm so glad I'm in California, Indiana. Like, it was so harsh to me, blah, blah, blah. Anyways.
Is it really Indiana? Like, I feel like we all kind of grow up and we kind of resent the place that we're from in a way. We might leave, or we might stay there and still feel resentful. I feel like we all are kind of like, why did I end up here?
Right, people from California are like that. You know, they seem to have everything, perfect weather, so I think...
I feel like the best thing you can do in your 20s is go explore. And then I think that's for me, I've been able to come back to my hometown with a new appreciation for not only my hometown, but also for places like New York, LA. But I want to hear from Damon. I want to hear the Indiana journey.
Indiana journey?
You go out to the world and then you come back, and what has changed?
Yeah, sorry, I'm so interested in that story. No, I'm so interested in that story. Just because it is crazy. He's in Paris now and like traveling
Paris, Texas.
From
so
Indiana.
Cool.
Paris, Texas, just down the street.
Yeah.
No, okay, my thing was when I was growing up, I used to think like, probably like this guy from Indiana. Indiana ain't shit. Like, I don't want to be here. This is the worst place on earth. And even when I was living in New York for college or moving to LA, I still looked at Indiana like, why would anybody want to live in Indiana? Why did my family choose to live in Indiana?
That's a big question.
Like, why would you ever choose to live in Indiana when you could live in Miami with palm trees? Like, why did we choose to live here? And then as I grew older, and now I'm 29, and when I look back, I'm like, okay, it's not just because I want to live in a big city that everyone has to want to live in a big city.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, there are pros to living here. Like, I keep saying that this looks like where I'm from. Like, Texas looks like Indiana, you know, like we have the highways, we have the beautiful parks, there's space. You walk outside, you get your coffee, everyone's
Look how
nice.
beautiful that cloud
This is beautiful, by the way. This is freaking gorgeous.
Oh my God.
And this is what you don't have in big, like, this is a big city. And then I realized, oh, right, that's why people want Indiana. Or Texas. And actually one time my mom put me in check, and I really like thank her now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like maybe it was 5, 6, 7 years ago, I came and I'm like, why would anyone want to live here in Indiana? And she's like, you know that we're not just here because we ended up here, it's because we chose to be here. And I was like, damn, Mom.
Yeah.
She's like, we didn't just end up here by circumstances because we actually like it here, Damon.
Wow.
And I was like,
wow.
You're right.
My God.
You're like,
know
why?
I think you just unlocked, like, not the secret of life, but I think it's so necessary. I think if you have the opportunity, if you can, when you graduate high school, you go to college or whatever, to just be able to like go see the world and see other cultures and see everything. And then I feel like you can then come back and not only appreciate where you're from and the decisions your parents made, but you can also like have a wider lens of not only culture, but just how other people live. And I think that just enables you to then make the right decision for you as an adult.
I don't know if I said this in another Red Wine Talk, but I feel like maybe this is like a dystopian concept, but I feel like we should all have to, like, be required. Okay, this is where it gets a little, like a little alarming. We should all at 18, this is where it gets Hunger Gamesy. We should all be required.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't put that in there.
We should all be required, who knows if required, at 18 to go travel the world.
Yeah.
Explore other countries.
Yeah.
Then decide where we want to live.
Right.
Like, maybe you would decide, okay, Denmark actually is where I want to live.
Yeah.
You don't know that because you haven't been there yet.
Exactly.
Or have you been there?
I haven't been there.
And maybe that's your place. Like, why is it just because we're born here that we have to live here?
Isn't that interesting though? Because I feel like this is a revelation I'm having on Red Wine Talk here. Is think about the people who are able to do that. If you're rich and you have expectations of your parents, you might be stuck in one place. If you're not able to afford those experiences and you have to take care of your parents, you're not able to do those experiences.
Right.
I feel like it's like the people in the middle that are able to do, I don't know. Sorry, I'm getting like...
I like where that's going.
But it's like, it makes sense though. Because it's like, you always hear these rich people complaining, you're like, screw you. You got money.
Yeah.
But I feel like they have so much more expectation from where they come and who to be. And then also people who are less fortunate, they have to take care of their family. So they can't do that.
Yeah, and I feel like forward progression only really happens with obviously with empathy to understand like how the world works and how you can like add to this whole thing.
Oh, that's huge.
And the only way you can really add to empathy is to understand how other cultures live. And I mean, every time I visit like a small town or my hometown, it's like you can see that like there's a lot of people there who have never had to even ever think outside of their original mindset that their parents delivered to them. And was like, this is how you should think. And they're stuck in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that empathy, that's the only way you can really also like build a good career in a creative avenue as well.
Dude,
I think is to go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
No, that was it.
No, I was gonna give you daps. I didn't even know that.
What is daps?
It's
like
this,
daps.
dude.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even know the word empathy until I met this dude. You know, and I think that's like.
Does that shock you that she didn't know the word empathy
No,
before she
I didn't.
met him?
I grew up hella Christian, and I didn't know what the word empathy meant.
Should we talk about God for the next 30
No,
minutes?
let's not do that.
Stop.
Let's not do that. But
I'm like, I'm out. I have to
I'm
pee.
just
Why did
saying,
you?
yeah. No, okay, I'll finish my
You
thought.
too?
I'm just
What?
saying.
You wanna go
I'm just
together?
saying, that's why-
I think we only have one.
That's why I think I was so not only intrigued by you, but I respected you because like empathy is like the key to the world. It's like the key to everything.
Yeah, it seems
It's
selfless when I mention
understanding-
it, but it's more selfish of like, no, trust me, you'll get the
Well, no,
world
it's like,
if you're more
hey,
empathetic.
if you think you have a worldview or a political view or an anything view, if you just say, hey, okay, so let's think about the people who are actually going through this one specific issue. What would it be like being in their shoes? Holy shit.
Because you don't
That
have to think
changes
about that. if you're-
everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, go pee.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm my own man.
Yes. I feel like both of your like sectors are not comedy, but I did write down that I feel like you guys are both like funny people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like I
means so
watched
much.
your New York City apartment tour. I don't know which apartment it was because you moved around a few times, but it was
Everywhere.
hilarious. And it was just your like I don't know you guys bouncing off each other was just it was so simple, so natural, so funny. I don't know, it was just like easy to watch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, hello, stranger that I've met. Welcome to my apartment. Okay.
Later.
But it's like from a tech YouTuber and from
Yeah.
like a skateboarder, like that's not really a thing. Right?
Yeah. That's probably
So I guess
why.
there's nothing to say. I'm just so
No,
you
I
guys
mean,
are funny.
that's probably why our channels have done so well. I mean, I think even within our industries, there's so many people, especially who tries to do what Sarah
You need
does.
a fudging personality.
Yeah, because people want to get free stuff like Sarah gets to do all the time. And then I guess like with skateboarding as well, there is a ton of kids who are like, wow, there's no money in this industry. How do I just like start a YouTube channel, try to make money doing it? And that's probably part of the reason why we've had a little more success.
Can I give you my theory again?
Yeah.
I think we're really unlocking things in this conversation.
Give me your
That's
theory.
what the series is for.
Yeah. Guys, oh my god, please don't. I'm so nervous about this. But, because I've never been at this level of intoxication before. But what I'm saying is,
I have.
I think in the middle is where it's at. I think that's the theme. Because
Maybe.
it's like, in high school, what I went through was a lot of like acne. Okay, that's not sexy to talk about, but like,
pretty hot.
so I never, people struggle with a lot of different things, but I really struggled with acne. I played sports, but it's the type of thing in high school where you like work out in the morning, you don't wash your face, and then I could never figure that out. And like, there's so many things like that I feel like made me unattractive to guys, to be honest. Like in high school, okay, I was awkward, I didn't figure it out. But guess what I did in that time? I lasered in on my hobbies. And it was, no, I'm telling you, it was like,
We're both like,
Don't hurt us. She's like,
but what
yes,
I'm
I'm
saying
curious.
is
Keep going.
I really think the people who get screwed are the ones who blossom in high school, who are beautiful,
right.
who have all the guys or gals looking at them, and they're just worried about appearances and like how to, just worried about things that don't matter when you're young. But when you have the opportunity to like really dive into yourself and figure out yourself at a young age and what hobbies you're into, I totally forgot the original question. So tell me if I'm off. But I think what a good blessing we had is like you, to cope with your shit, was you went into your garage and you skated. and you dove into what you loved, and I dove into video and music and what I was into, and it was all about that, and that's the only thing that mattered, you know. And then once you have the ability to find yourself, then I think that's when everything else works. And you're in your mid-20s, you're confident in yourself, and then you attract the right relationships, platonic and romantic. And then you can boldly go forth in life and just crush it. That's all I'm saying.
And now they're hearing Johnny's crushing it.
Dude, that's pretty funny. Weren't you popular in high school?
I feel like you would be popular.
You won something.
What is this?
You seem like a very confident person regardless.
Didn't you win some award or like most something? I saw your Instagram.
Yes, somebody's asked me about it. I've always wanted to talk about this. I was homecoming king.
Okay, see, and I dated homecoming queen freshman year, and
so your theory's wrong because he's more successful now than he's ever been.
Downhill from there.
Jerk.
Okay, see, that's what we're with the enemy. We're with the popular kid right now.
I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty cool in high school. I was #1 tennis, like varsity singles. I was homecoming king, most spirited president ever. I was that guy in high school. I was doing everything for the resume to get in college, and then in college, again, maybe this is why I love Paris so much, because it was in Paris that I just realized like everything that I had been doing for the past 19 years. Like for what? I was just like, for what? Like, so that other people like me for certain things. Like, what do I want to actually do? I don't know. I don't know. I had that epiphany when I was in Paris,
so
and then
dumb.
maybe that was why I really liked Paris. That I felt like I could be somebody else.
But what a valuable epiphany, and that probably wouldn't have happened if you weren't there.
Right, and maybe that's why I live there now. I don't know. In one of your podcasts, you mentioned that there was something about confusing things that you're good at with what you actually want to do, and feeling like, oh, because I'm good at this, I need to keep doing it. Yeah. And like YouTube is something we've all gotten pretty good at. We know how to edit videos, we know how to do this, but like there comes a point after 5-10 years where you're like, am I just doing this because I'm good at it, or is it because I actually want to do it? Or you said something also like, you found yourself procrastinating, or maybe this was on, you guys made a podcast together as well, like a year or two ago or something.
It was less about do what you love and more about, hey, what just keeps me up at night? Can I sit and just Google for hours and hours? But we say, do what you love, have a job that you love. That kind of love is fleeting. That doesn't last forever. So when you find yourself and you're like, wow, I've been editing videos for over 10 years. I don't want to edit another video for like 6 months. You get confused because you're like, no, Sarah, this is what you love. This is what you're good at, you know? And then you just, okay, right. And you just heads down, you put one foot in front of the other. And then you wonder why you're miserable because you just haven't had a break from this thing but then you feel guilty because this is what you love.
Something I say a lot is like, you have to find something that you love, but also loves you back.
Ooh.
Right.
That is like the secret to life. Because it's like what you said, yes, but also I have loved so many things in this life that didn't love me back. Music, obsessed with guitar. Oh man, it turns out I'm not as good as like the people who are actually making this a profession, right? So there's a degree of that, but then also there's a degree of what you're talking about. You've been doing something for a while. You're good at it. But oh man, maybe I don't love it anymore. And that's
you said something about procrastinating. Like
yeah.
you found yourself procrastinating on things that
yeah.
you used to love.
Yes.
When, like,
and that was college for me, and that was electrical engineering, and that was music, and that was
YouTube
basketball.
and editing.
And that was editing, and now it's editing
tell me
for
about
me.
it. I'm like, I don't want to edit this. And then I'm like,
Yes.
but what? This
Because
is
when
your
you
job.
started,
Like,
you
what?
were so stoked to
Yeah.
put together the footage that you filmed. You're like, oh my God, you're sitting there like so hyped. And then of course, after 5 years, you're like,
But how scary is it when you get to the point? I know for a fact, I'm like, you can think I'm not a good personality in front of the camera. You can think I'm not a good filmer. You could think I'm stupid when it comes to tech. But the one thing I have confidence in is, man, I can tell a story in the edit. I am a video editor, and I take away everything. I can do that. So it's really terrifying when that starts to feel like your electrical engineering homework. And I'm like, oh no, this, I hate this all of a sudden.
Yeah. A lot of times when you get to that point, you realize like, no, I am the person who can get a YouTube channel up to where I've gotten, but I'm not really that guy who can do the next thing.
Can
like
manage all these people to do the next.
Yeah, that's in no way is
big too.
is that fun. Like with me, like when I first tried to hire a couple editors, I remember being like, this is so not fun, and this is making my videos worse, and I can't tell the story that I want to, etc. And it's a very rude awakening to be like, man, I'm not the guy who like can do that. So then you just have to navigate like, what kind of guy are you, and what do you want to do, and what matters.
Yes.
And the cool thing about YouTube is that you, at least for me, I realized like, you know how you were saying about money earlier, you're like, once you start making money, once you start seeing a lot of numbers, it's all fleeting. Like it's not really the most important thing. And you start, at least me, I'm like finding myself in a position where I'm like, I want to do other things, even if it gives me way less numbers. Even less money. Like I'm interested, I realize like life is kind of just about like playing with those new things that YouTube has built a lot of confidence for me in pursuing other things that I never had the confidence for before. So like luckily this YouTube platform and having thousands of people tell you like, dude, you're pretty cool, you're good. And then you're like, maybe I am pretty cool. Maybe I should try that thing that I wanted to do when I was 15 that I didn't have the confidence for. Even if it doesn't make money, even if it doesn't do this, that's what I've been interested in recently, is trying to find those youthful things that I would have tried if I had the confidence for it.
What
Drawing,
about
etc.
Illustrating.
for people who don't have any following? Do you have anything like saved for them? I mean, obviously we all have a following that validates our personality and the things that we do. What about, do you have any like insights like, oh, it actually doesn't matter to have a following?
I would say so the hardest thing, and this is why this question is so cheesy, is like, how do you find what you're passionate about? That feels like the $1 million question, doesn't it? And I think we got lucky enough to find that. But where I feel like that starts, and the validation is not followers, and I think that's number one. Y'all, you could find the thing that you're amazing at, and guess what? It might not follow with like followers, but you might be the best YouTube editor and be someone's number 2 and thrive and even make enough money, but you might not have the following. And that's okay. Oh my gosh, that is okay, right? I feel like we have become very obsessed with followers and stuff. But the thing that I like, going back to the OG thing, is like finding what you're passionate about. And it's gonna be messy, because once you make your passion your job, that's when things get hard. You gotta scale. And you gotta figure out, from the startup world, they say all the time, the same person who might be perfect to build a company up is not the same person to then like build it out to be a proper Fortune 500 company.
I feel that.
The same person who's a founder is not the same person who would actually be an operator and a CEO. So I think that's something that we collectively go through who have YouTube channels. But I think that's something is, you have to, like, if you feel lost and you feel like that you're not even at that point, you just have to feel like, okay, what am I good at, and something that loves me back. Like, you see all those people on American Idol who are so passionate about singing, but holy shit, they're terrible at singing. Luckily, I think we had parents and friends in our life to say, hey, you know, I love that you love that and keep working at it. Right now, you're not very good.
Yeah, like you're not a good singer. You're a bad singer.
Yeah. And I think it's a blessing to have those people in your life. You need those people in your life. So it's finding the balance of those two things. And I think it's just trying. And so I think people get impatient and they say, oh, this isn't working, so I'm going to give up. Man, that breakthrough is right around the corner. And you might be bailing before like right before you hit that breakthrough. And that's terrifying. So keep pushing.
Yeah, a lot of people have a really hard time committing to it, because half the time when people ask me like, hey dude, I want to do what you do, like how do I make a YouTube channel? Like as I'm explaining, you can almost see it in their eyes that they're zoning out. Like they're kind of like, cool, yeah. And then you're like,
that means they want the following and not the work.
I know, it's so hard.
So you gotta be obsessed with video.
You almost want to say to them like, no, find the thing that you love, and that's probably gonna be the thing that you should try to excel at. Yeah. Because like I can see that you're glazing over this like topic I'm talking about, but like working really hard is kind of the bare minimum. Like if you can't just do that part where you're like, oh, I want to do this and I'm focused and I'm inspired, that's kind of the minimum. Everything else is a little more difficult. So you have to kind of do that first.
You out there, are you going to be obsessed with fonts and color and look like Damon is? Like Damon, your last video with the handyman. No, I know, and I notice it, and it's one of those things where like your audience, probably it's just you, right? And I think that's the secret of design in making something that's good. It's invisible. People don't even notice. But the people who make shit, it's like I watch your video and I'm like, man, I am so proud of Damon for like typing out these words and like doing the different fonts.
Because you know how long
and,
that takes.
And color grading it to where I just feel like I am in Paris, France when I watch your video. I feel it. And that is not because you hit record and post it to YouTube. That is because you took the time to color grade it and to do all these things. And like, there's so much thought that goes into it, but it's so seamless that like, when you watch it, it's just like this finished product that your audience gets to experience and submerge in, and it's just so good.
I bet that process for you is more about exploring what feels really cool in the moment as you're putting it together.
And for
you're like, oh my god, this is so fun.
It needs to look like this.
And for people who only want the numbers, they are not going to do that.
They can't zone into that.
They're not going to do that.
You guys, it hurts so bad when I have so many friends that are, and you guys probably feel this way too, like you meet somebody and they have so much talent. You're like, I almost want their success more than they want it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, but you're so, like you actually sing well.
Yeah, right.
Like, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if I want it.
You
need to do it though.
Yeah.
Right.
Or even if they want an internship or whatever, it's like, dude, but it's up to you, not me to want it for you. Well, this has been the end of this episode. That felt natural.
Yeah. And it was deep.
A nice flow to the
You
conversation.
should move to Texas, Damon.
Whoa.
We would love to have you here.
No, but for real, it hasn't been. I see the appeal. Wow. No, all is good here. I'm just like in a good mood in Texas for the most part. I'm still a little jet lagged, but everything's
Come
decent
on
for the
here,
most part.
y'all.
Thank you guys for watching this episode of Red Wine Talks. This has been
Nice. You ended it with the crack that I was going to start with.
Okay, so we're just gonna stare. 5 seconds. I'll pick up the thing.
Voice cracks right when he calls on us. John, what's up? Hello.
It was all planned. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you want to. That's always my thing. I'm like, if you enjoy this, like subscribe.
Right.
Also,
Don't
it's
feel
like,
pressured.
geez, at this point they're an hour in. Like,
I force them to subscribe. I don't even give them a choice.
Because only 10 people are watching by now,
Yeah.
feel free to subscribe to me.
Yeah. Go ahead and subscribe to Sarah and John. They have channels as well. Oh, I've never had 3 bottles of wine in one Red Wine Talks.
Well,
That's one thing.
listen, we can go get tacos and then maybe we can we bring this to tacos?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't see why not. Okay, anyways, we can have a discussion off camera.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you for having us.
Bye.
I feel so cool.
I think that's technically bad luck. We're just not gonna do it just in case.
Yeah. We're
But
just not gonna.
off camera we will.
Yeah.
And I have to go pee. Right, when you see that I pick up the glass, you pick up your glass. Okay, we take a sip. And then I'll say, welcome, blah, 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 blah.
Cool. Oh my god. Drink some water.
Vaccine at Target, by the way, down the street if you need one. Are you actually good though?
This is my water.
Yep.
Cool.
Also, this is probably interesting because, all right, we're gonna let her cough over there.
Yeah, let's give it like 25 minutes.
Oh yeah, this is
What,
Is it J-O-H-N?
It is.
Can you shut up? I was worried about your name with the H.
You got my name right.
It is, but Jonathan is without the H.
Okay, John.
You
There
can-
are 2 bathrooms.
There's 3. One is out of commission. This one's too messy, so you're only allowed to use this one.
This is why you moved to Texas. So you can have 3 bathrooms.
But like, last time I hung out with her,
We should let Damon talk.
he asked the question about
This is
international.
Sarah and John's universe. I'm just living in it over here.
Wait, teach me something, Patty.
Je prends du vin. I'm having wine.
Je prends du vin.
Je prends du vin.
Je prends
Du vin.
du vin.
Du vin. It's not bad, actually.
Okay.
It's really not bad.
Damon, I've never been drunk before.
What?
And I feel like,
Yes, you're like right now, maybe for once.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I feel like I'm in the edge. So if we go to Velvet Taco and we get a margarita, I feel like I could be there.
And
I
why
feel like we
haven't
could
you
have
ever
this-
done that?
Because I grew up in the way you don't get drunk.
How often do you
I'm a
black
good
out?
goodie.